Carrie has worked for us at Hale Center Theater in the past as a technician, backstage, behind the scenes, specifically with the role as a dresser. But now she is in the big bad professional world, and she's working at a show in Las Vegas is it at the Wynn?
It's at the Wynn, yes.
It is La Rêve. How would you describe La Rêve?
It's kind of like the Cirque du Soleil shows in that there's a lot of circus act performers, a lot of divers, a lot of them have a background in gymnastics, that kind of a thing. So it's a lot of kind of what you would expect at a circus, a lot of tricks and flips and dives and things like that.
But it's a water show.
But it's all centered in the water. The stage is actually in the water. It's very similar to Hale in that it's a theater in the round. And so the pool, a 1.1 billion gallon, I think.
Wow.
Billion gallon? 1.1 million gallon
Thank you. Okay.
Pool. Sorry. It's huge. So the stage moves up and down like at Hale, in and out of the water.
Right. So the water kind of sieves through it, doesn't it? So you can have a quote-unquote dry stage, a flat surface, or you can have a pool that's so deep people can totally dive into it, right?
Exactly.
People should totally check it out. It really is, not saying this because Carrie's there, but it is my favorite show in Vegas. So it's really, really great stuff. But so as a dresser, what were some of your responsibilities? What does a dresser do?
A dresser basically is in charge of the costumes during the show. So we are helping the performers or actors in and out of their costumes if they need to make any quick changes. We're helping them get out and in of those. We're also in charge of laundering the costumes, making sure everything's clean, making sure everything's repaired, everything's fixed that needs to be so the show can go on. Right.
Now, you told me earlier, I asked you how many dressers, when you worked here at Hale, generally how many dressers worked a show?
Depending on how big the show was, the most I had ever worked on at Hale was two dressers per cast.
Okay.
So 2 dressers per night.
So two of you kind of taking care of as many as 25, 26 people.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you used a great basketball analogy because at La Rêve you had 11 dressers, right?
Correct.
And
11.
so I started to ask how many you were assigned to, and you explained to me this way.
It's at Hale you were kind of, or even at Pioneer when I worked at Pioneer, you were assigned a few actors at a time, or you were in the boys' dressing room, you were in the girls' dressing room. But at La Rêve, it's actually more of a zone defense per se, so we're assigned areas. So there's a dresser at each of the bombs. There's a dresser in an elevator, which the elevator has its own for cues. We've got a couple of dressers up in the ceiling, up on the grid, and so once we're in our areas, for the most part, most of us can't leave those areas once the show starts. We have to stay there.
Is the elevator dresser considered an elevated position, or is that like the bottom floor position? I mean, that's totally a lot of
always
puns.
Elevated, especially now that I know that track. That's actually the last track I just barely learned a couple weeks ago. So it's always elevated.
Oh. That's crazy, though, that you guys have so much technical stuff going on that you're dressing people in an elevator or you run out of time.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. A lot of, and it's interesting too for that track because we have a radio for our wardrobe. But with the elevator, we also have a radio that is just a listen that's hooked into the stage manager. So we are hearing the stage manager make all of their cues and calls. So if something goes wrong in the show and we're needed to go pick up somebody, we can hear that directly from the stage manager so we know where to go.
So you have something in both ears and possibly an actor speaking to you.
An actor speaking at you, yes.
How early do you show up for a show down there?
We check in at 4:15, and the shows actually don't start until 7 o'clock. So when we get there, the hallway with the dressing rooms in it is just lined with the racks of costumes to be put away into the rooms. So there's 2 dressers.
Because they've all been cleaned and such.
Yes,
okay.
They're all. Because after we wash them, and we actually put all the costumes in a dry room to air dry. The day crew actually goes through and checks and makes sure everything looks good as well, and then they put those on the racks and put them in the always for us to be able to put them away. So we put the costumes away. We also do some steaming and ironing that needs to be done before the show as well.
I'm interested in the idea of a dry room. Tell me what that is exactly.
It's just a really long room. It's got kind of a track on the ceiling. We call it the slinky. And so it's got some little slots in it, and it's divided with the dressing rooms per dressing room. So we're hanging the same, all dressing room D is in one section, all of dressing room A is in another section. And so there's little slots that we're able to hang the costumes in, and then and we can rotate it to move to different points of the track. So we hang those there. There's racks in this room where we put the shoes, and all the shoes get dried. So we try. Is the
room hot or anything to help dry it? Or?
No, not really. There's just a lot of fans in there.
It's just true air dry.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any wigs for any of the women?
We do. We have a wig specialist during the day. She takes care of all the wigs. It's different in this show because the wigs actually have a strap that comes down and hooks on. So when they're doing their flips and stuff, they don't have wigs flying everywhere. And actually, the wigs are covered in a silicone type of material, so it makes it a little bit harder. So the style actually stays when they get wet.
How long are you there after the show?
The last show, it starts at 9:30, and so it usually ends around 11-ish.
Right.
And then we are there till 12:15 is when we check out. And by then, all of the costumes have been washed and put away in the dry room.
Right.
And that's probably about over maybe 100, maybe a little more or less, 100 loads of laundry a night.
Wow.
That's one of the reasons I love being a dresser, is getting that relationship and that rapport with the performers. I mean, you can see someone on stage and be impressed with them, but to get to know them backstage and to really get to know their personality and have an extreme trust between you, but then also have some fun. But that is the best thing about that job is that friendship and rapport that you can get with the performers.
That's cool.
There's probably about 200 technicians for the show, so to get everybody to work together is pretty incredible.
So way more people backstage than on.
Yes. There's about 93 performers and about 200 technicians.
That is incredible. Well, congratulations again on your career. And we sure hope we see you here soon. We're glad to see you at
yes,
Christmas
of course.
time.
I'm always back.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking time with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll see ya.
Hey, bye.